All yay. Saturday, 2nd of November. How are we doing? Initiates, scholars, scribes. Let me turn the volume down. Initiates, scribes, scholars, sovereigns, herbalists, what. I just need to load up, bear with. I'm going to pop you some links in where we're at. I'll give you some news and updates. It's very bright. Maybe I need to shield that somewhat. How are we doing? I'm in the chat. I'm going to pop you some links in where I'm going to be going. And some information you might want to review along with me. I haven't had time to bring you this throughout the week. But I'd like to do it now. And furthermore, right at the beginning, because I may get questioned in the future. I and Sovereign Smith will not be doing any further appointments or work covenants and so forth. So I'm not going to go into it anymore. But news for you first, little bit. David and Andy have gone on separate paths, and that's that. Okay, I'll leave it there. Those of you on the .com, you might want to check the news feed on what I've said there. Remembering it's on the .com and it's private, but yes, that's some information there that I will keep to my word. This is a random mix, but I'm going to post it. It's Anne Sakalis, Hillary Dunn. Let me get a better one than that, because I've had some emails and some questions, so I'm going to hopefully answer a few of them and get some answers and some information out and clarity. Bear with me. I think my spelling's terrible of late at the minute. That'll do, I've corrected it. Yeah, that link, I'll put this one in first. So I'm not going to chat about these. I'll put them in the order on what I'm going to chat about then. So we've got the diplomat and the, we're saying, immunity that's been applied to the criminal offence, linked to death of Harry there, of the Dunn estate family. And then I've got some story on news information, Grenfell Tower fire, systemic failures in the fire brigade's response. So I'm not going to cut down the fire brigade. Hello there, what? I'm going to sympathise with them, and I don't agree on the avenue of blame there. And we're also going to talk about the driving loophole. What solicitors are known to do is not what we're known to do as a sovereign paralegal entity. We'll leave that to one side. You clearly know what we're about, and we use rights to defend over secular public claims upon personage, public liability, assumption and presumption rebutted honourably, etc. Now, solicitors will take great pleasure in finding the technicalities within a great body of words, acts and legislative code, and they will find that yes, well, there may be a charge for driving while using a mobile phone, but we're going to go into that a bit further for those that don't truly grasp the interface and the importance of our correlation to what is clearly happening out there in reality. I've got the first story. This one's going straight in. Forgive me for where the link is. I'm not going to give you independent searches. This one is the first and most important one. You can go and find this story involving a teenager, Bethany, 18. She's only just got to 18, and the father, that's basically, he's Jeremy. Jeremy's the father. I'll say hello to the scribes in a minute. I've got an order to go on. And this is pretty much the first story I'm going to go into. And then we're finished. Updates aplenty in the correct capacity and format. So I have mentioned about this dad before and his interaction with the courts and the system, and what he'd found out. I think I was in Birmingham about 9 a.m. when I first heard the phonics through the radio of the news telling me that there's an autistic girl whose dad's been to hospital. The place of she was under 18, legal age at the time, and so she was considered a minor in law, and parameters as such were set as a child. I'm paraphrasing. We're at ease here, soldiers. All right. So younger in the eyes of the law. I do not utter legalese. I utter simple Anglo for the avoidances of doubt, the purposes of clarity. I will not be using any legalese. There may be definitions in there of such, but it's late and I'm tired. You can read between the lines. All right. So at 17 and under, as I've explained to you before, much like the parameters of legal, public, civil, secular liabilities, this is the same correspondence here. So I don't take any pleasure in doing this, but this girl has gone from 17 to 18, and she hasn't had any bridging or any kind of allowance, and the systemic care system moves you as a number, as a pallet, as an instrument, instruments and conveyances and so forth, and no emotion, and you moved from childlike asset under 18, you get where I'm coming from, to adult, but you haven't had any, bearing in mind autism and being cared for, the guardianship in itself has duties, responsibilities, obligations, etc. And it appears that there's no bridging anywhere, and it just goes from child to adult, and you moved across. Circumstances, conditions change. Everything within this story, as you'll find out, is quite horrific. So this man, Jeremy, needs a big posh fist bump. Well done, lots of love. You can get the link from what I've given you. I don't need to go into it all, but for the benefit of those that don't, the father of an autistic girl locked up in a cell for more than 2 years without physical contact has demanded, 2 years without physical contact, autistic. That's the system that cares for you. We're all in it together. Yeah. Do you think Boris's offspring would have that kind of neglect? All right. That's criminal. That's not a criminal offence. That's not offence of any kind. That's just plain criminal, if I'm to be honest. The father of an autistic girl locked up in a cell for more than 2 years without physical contact has demanded that changes be made to stop his daughter being treated like an animal. Jeremy, who would not give his full name in order to protect his daughter Bethany's identity. I'm reading from the link of this Daily Rag, so it's all out in the public realm. He said she was detained under the Mental Health Act, so be careful of acts, because this is where an act will get you with your personage and your barratry and your consent and your submitting, which is why we do what we do, because if you submit and you consent and you agree to a tyrannical system that does this to a little girl, then what chance has it got with adults and any kind of commonality at all? Justice, the law is an ass. So the Mental Health Act, when she was 15, this happened. She's 3 years, yeah? And now at 18, the conditions she is living in are worse than before, according to her distraught father, and include a 24-hour seclusion in a locked room with incredibly bright lights and food being slid in like she was an animal. I'm thinking Guantanamo Bay, but she's done no crime. She's been born into the realm, a little bit different. Look what happens when we don't do it ourselves and we give to others for the sanctimony of care. False faith. We had faith in the system here, fam, and the evidences are it was false faith in money, false faith in the religions that are proposed as faith, that are faith, hope and harmony. To have faith is to have belief, to have hope, inwardly, outwardly, the laws, the harmony, the resonant vibration. There's a key there, and we haven't got any of that with these externals. Equity thieves. Well, it's become one thing money, one thing iron horses. When it's blood and it comes out in a national rag, of which I found from the 31st of October coming across our airwaves, brought a tear to my eye. I'm a father. I haven't fought for justice in the traditional realm, but I've been to a high court and I got a court writ to say, you're a good dad, you're all right, you can have access. This is just, I can't imagine what this dad's gone through, the torment, the torrent of emotions, watching daughter suffering Jeremy has taken action to the NHS to court and spoken out about his daughter's treatment and it's got the healthcare and the location, which is not too far from me. I could pay a visit and help out. I hear you say I haven't done anything in the form of reaching out to anybody, but it's about time I started to do this, which is why I've got campaigns going. There's Anglo's emergency funds to help us and others in the realm get off and do a rapid action response. So you'll notice on Facebook, if it's all going through and been sanctioned, the emergency Anglo reserve is a thing additional just to try on Facebook, because we've got technology and we're not using it properly. So I'll try that, and we can have a national rapid response council. I don't know, we'll work that out between us. So Bethany is locked in what Jeremy describes as a cell 10 foot wide and 15 foot long. The only furniture is a 4-inch thick mattress and no access to fresh air. There's no crime here, no crime at all. Jeremy's major concern from the start was that the conditions were totally unsuitable for his daughter. She needs to be somewhere calm to reduce her stress. Instead, standing on the ward, you mostly hear the loud noises of other distressed parents. I'm not going to read anymore, it does go on in detail. There are many sources to get this from. There have been independent reports, okay, and we've got international governance now, not just United Kingdom, not England and Wales, not EU, international. I'm going to look here and see if there is any mention of that, because that's what I know. We go equity, and that's one thing. When you bring in the three, and they're very important, human rights acts, and there's one from like 1948, not just the ICOR recent ones, but there are three, and you use them in unison, and you quote and you reference certain things. Like in one of the paragraphs, I think 6 of the 1948 human rights, it will say man and woman. All right, man and woman. Hello, I'll say it again. In one of something like the 1948 Human Rights Act, it may reference man and woman. And in others, it might mention the fact that humans are afforded the right for persons. And you can use different things on civil and covenant type rights there. And look, I'm not going to give too much away because I've promised I'll keep it private. But do you get my flow? Do you feel me? In amongst everything, you need step backs and backups, and these work remarkably well, and they don't rely on England and the United Kingdom, and they're international, and the covenants, and they're recognised. All right, so if you break them, you're in the brown smelly stuff. Not just the fact that Brexit is a laughing stock. The world laughs at the United Kingdom and its broken toothed old pale stale and male buffoonery that's going off here. Just feel what I'm saying to you. I give up. All right. So clinging on to this, if you submit to an act and you agree to be in a person, I'm not having a go at this man, Jeremy, this brother. I'd like to reach out and give him some free information and get some bounce back and maybe some exclusivity with regards to coverage of and further. I have to be careful here because mainstream stuff, as we've seen with Liverpool and whatnot, doesn't always necessarily ring true or indeed be wholesome. So that's the first one there. I'm going to go to something lighter now, but keeping in the grey area. This one is just from a random website that I found through DuckDuckGo. And I'll go to your comments afterwards because I want to keep my flow and, I want to not be here all night if we can help it. Alright, so let my little white laptop catch up. I'm going to post this next link for what's happened with regards to the closing of a government UK. Everyone across ponds, just take note, but it's interesting how these things move and change. Solicitors, they find the grey areas in the legislative rule, code, act, statute, and they're renowned for getting out loopholes using these clauses, not so much real law, using their own internal public mechanisms and consenting to look like they're doing something remarkable when really it's not remarkable. It's just like the tax system, they put it offshore, a bit like Jimmy Carr got found out and other such corporative entities that had head offices registered in Northern Ireland that were taking money on UK Anglo, all of that stuff. Same thing again here. The government has confirmed it will close a legal loophole that saw drivers able to use mobile phones for tasks other than calls and texts. Interactive communication, right? And that allowed drivers to escape prosecution for handheld mobile phone use whilst behind the wheel. So here we go. Hypothetically, you're in an Iron Horse and you're privately travelling, and you're in a commercial vehicle and you're publicly travelling. Either way, you are stopped, and there is an officer of the Metropolitan Office in a private corporation, and he stops you and says, got evidence here, me and my pal seen you using your phone whilst travelling, private, sovereign, initiate, scholar, or public commercial. Then there's an element of danger, harm, killing machine, tonnage, truck, whatever, using a phone. So there's a way of getting out of this, and the Transport Secretary, Grant Shapps, has announced that he will urgently take forward a review to tighten up the existing law preventing handheld mobile use whilst driving. At present, the law prevents drivers from using a handheld mobile phone to call or text only in the little small print grey text solicitor area, okay? However, people caught filming or taking photos whilst driving have escaped. What? Not using the rights, not using the sovereignty, not using anything but cheeky little, come on, sort me out, John. Well, if you pay me enough, I know a little thing. It's not what you know, it's who you know. You call me a fraudster, or whatever, a cheat. The law is an ass. The public, secular, Westminster, assumptive, presumptive, legislative law. So you say to the officer, I wasn't texting or calling, I was using it for photos or filming, not interactive communication. And so the revised legislation will now mean that any driver caught a driver, that tells you a clue of what capacity. If you're an initiate, private, self-governing, conscientious objector, however you termify yourself, I wouldn't say sovereign or free man, trust me. But the return of sovereignty is on its way. There is a mass change, a magnetism felt. There's a lot going on. 2020 vision, indeed, covering things like this though, and helping you understand why and who and what and where we are, what goes off in the grand scheme of things, in the bureaucracy of this. We recognise that staying in touch with the world whilst travelling is an essential part of modern day life, but you are also committed to making our roads safe. Well, we all are recognising that whilst chi ra vel ing and transportation is public, travelling is private, either way you have an obligation, a duty, a commonality, obligation under the covenants to others not to kill them, especially not be pissed and kill them, not be off your face, not be playing with the radio, not be tweaking with your turbo, your NOS kit, your new car with your new buttons, or which brings me on to, but be careful. Now that brings me on to the diplomat. See, I'm getting good at this. Once I get my studio, we'll be in near professionalism. Hit the comments up, please. Don't be shy. Give it a try if you're new. And that's going to take me on to the diplomat, Anne Sikalis and Harry Dunn, travelling on a military base over here. What side of the road, fam, this is a genuine question, but what side of the road would they travel on a military base, American base, on Anglo soil? Would they observe our Road Traffic Act observation up the left and down the right, or would they go continental up the right and down the left? Because if you think about it, being on Anglo territory and using international road on their base camp, all right, and then coming out and having to transfer over is an immediate what? If you're over here, that base, you would imagine for continuity, or if it isn't, then I would immediately propose, this comes from Matthew in Sheffield, who's not in a good way. I will tell you at the end, or maybe I'll sandwich it up, but I've got some bad news about Matt and his dog Tesla. So if you're an animal lover, and you're not, I'll give you a bit of a warning. I've digressed, but this is diplomatic, all right, and this is caused quite a scandal in many places. I'm just going to go to one story. Who is Anne Sakalas, a US diplomat's wife linked to the death of, and that would be Harry Dunn. So a death, when you take a life, you have equitably removed something, and a US diplomat's wife coming out and doing this has come out in the news. I've had emails asking me about immunity, diplomats. I have a lot more information on this, articulate information that I'll put on the .com and print, and I'll write something for you a bit more tangible with substance. I'm now going to a general rag and looking at this, saying that just to see what I can find. I want to see what you're seeing, because I hear bits and bobs, but I have nothing definitive. I have lots of emails with questions. She was being faced a call from Brit officials then to come back to the UK and answer questions in relation to the hit and run death of Harry Dunn. The 19-year-old from Branbury died close to a military spy base used by the Air Force. And here's what you need to know: is this is what this online article, which you can all find, anyone, and get information on. She's the wife of a US diplomat, Jonathan Sakulas, who was based at RAF Croughton, Northamptonshire. The 42-year-old born Elizabeth Goodwin is from South Carolina. She graduated from blah blah blah, that doesn't matter. She was working for the US State Department in Washington when she married, that doesn't matter. Right, she was on diplomatic duties here, and then that incident happened, then she's returned back, and then I'd argue now this is no longer on duty. She's lost the coverance of the personage with the civil application of diplomatic immunity, so she could come back now and be tried under non-diplomatic immunity. If she's no longer performing that function in office and it's served, then that immunity is gone, or relinquished. Many words, not there. Not evoked and called upon, and she would be coming back with no immunity. But then think about it: if we started doing this with a special relationship, Americans and what goes on there, this is my words, but just think we're in the real world, for instance, what would happen to our diplomats, and how difficult would life become if these so-called diplomats, we're ambassadors and witness of the plan of the creator into some element, and if you take a life, then you need to make up for that. You need to show remorse, be sorry, and no matter what kind of faith you have, the universal realm would argue that we can't judge and we can't afflict punishment of, but something needs to be done, and measurement needs to be balanced, needs to be done. And you give me your comments. I'm only saying, so you've got a political, what would you call it there? You've got a almost tribal political front with the diplomats, loss of life. That's common law, has been broken. And then temporarily there is diplomatic immunity, but now there isn't. She could come back and be extradited and be forced, and let's have a look. The Crown Prosecution Service are the ones would be involved to make the decision. That's the point. We need somebody else on this realm here, this landmass, to rival the CPS, an Anglo Prosecution Service for want of better, and we would also decide, because they've got the upper hand there, and I don't like the bias on it. So when these make that decision, they would weigh up a lot here. So I'm just saying that nobody has immunity. We all get judged at the end. So just remorse, I'd argue, needs to be shown, an apology, some time, not necessarily massive punishment and whatever, but Harry 19 has died after his motorbike collided with the car close to the RAF base, and the US Embassy confirmed that Anne was behind the wheel of the car. Anne was driving on the wrong side of the road, so she'd got mixed up. And I've been to Europe and France, and I don't know any of you that have travelled and you've seen my videos and the stuff that I've done. It's a real head mess. And that first point that I mentioned about what side they drive on at the base that Matthew was talking about is a key point there, just out of curiosity. And the Foreign Commonwealth Office have written to say that a US suspect in the case does not have diplomatic immunity, and the parents of Harry have said that they'll only meet if she promises to return to Britain. The parents, Charlotte, Charles and Tim Dunn, have flown to the US on Sunday to continue the fight for justice. Well, again, I'm not being big-headed, but there is simple, effective ways here, of which are being masqueraded a bit like this father and his daughter. pain. Again, it's public, it's mass. I'm not sure what they're trying to do here. It's just, I would argue that, I wouldn't argue, I would just point out that there's not a lot that's going to be done there. And, we've seen a great deal more injustice and now get done. So I'll leave that there and I'll go to your comments respectively. And the next one is from our friends at the Corporation of Broadcasting of the British Variety, but that's just what the one I clicked on. And I'm interested in mainstream Anglo mouthpieces that are a little bit politically mined anyway. And, so we'll go with this one. I'm completely aware what output and mouthpiece it is. And Grenfell Fire. I did that last time, look. Grenfell Fire. Peter Piper picked a peckle, pipple pepper. Systemic failures in fire brigade's response. Now, this is not something that I was expecting to see. The London Fire Brigade, LFB, has been condemned for serious shortcomings and systemic failures in its response to Grenfell Tower fire in a report after first phase of an inquiry. Fewer people would have died in the 2017 affair, horrific incident, if the fire brigade had taken certain actions earlier, the report by inquiry chairman Sir Martin Morbrick said, which makes me now go to YouTube and want to find and put you a link in for brother, what's his name, before I read any more. I do believe there was a documentary saying that there was reports about this and the government was given. So whilst I read you what this major broadcasting corporation society output mouthpiece is going to think, let me get you brother, and I've posted this several times and I've downloaded it, and if it's not here I won't be happy. Grenfell, let me find it for you, that one, and I'll post you the link. It's been done many a time. I think we've got it. I know it's a big one, it's quite long. Wait, it's been taken down. It's Brother Loki in an interview talking about Grenfell. No, it's gone. It's actually gone. Wait, I'm just skimming. Loki Grenfell interview. And he wrote, maybe it's because of legal reasons and claims then, because it is ongoing and maybe he's been questioned upon it. Wait, London Real, I think it was, with Loki. Let me just check for the actual channel, but that's kind of scuppered what I was going to be saying. But those of you out there that's true tubers, you may have previously seen it anyway and been knowing what I'm on about. I found a playlist here. I may have it. This could be it. Yeah, Loki Uncensored. Thank you to this one. I knew I couldn't find it. I was panicking then. Alright, so I found it here. I think this one is the interview. Yeah, part 1 or 2, London Real, bless you, Famalan. So I'll get you this link, bosh. And then there's part 2 of 2. You can find that yourself. I've done the basics for you, alright. So you can run with this, and then I'll go back to the corporative mouthpiece, and let me just put the link for that there. Loki Uncensored. For some reason that doesn't work. It's on the channel London Real, Loki Uncensored Truths, part 1 of 2. Shout going out to London Real. Give them a sub if you like what they do and you like the flow of that. It's 45 minutes, not an hour, and that's the one. And get yourselves onto part 2. So Fire Brigade, we love you. You save lives. You're heroes. You're us. Like the off-icers, constables, anybody that's out there in an office, we respect and we wish no malice to. The Fire Brigade, I wanted to be one when I was younger, and I went so far as to filling out a form. And for me, with my monkey brain and my crazy hoarseness, I got rejected. Not for health reasons, not for intelligence reasons, but the form wasn't even looked at, because at the top it said use block capitals and black ink only, and I used blue ink, black and block capitals, and they wrote back and said well done. I went, that's because I rushed it and I didn't pay attention, and I just got one copy, and so the London Fire Brigade and fire brigades, I hold no malice to them. I hold them in highest respect. Emergency services, This is what we're all about: emergency services, Anglo emergency independent services, services. I know I said I'm at ease, I utter no legalese, all right? That's not meant to rhyme, but it did. And we love them, all right? So I don't think they truly deserve the blame if there are confounding, conflicting reports. And as we've come to learn, when the ruling of law and equity collide, then the rulings of equity will supersede if it shall be, and you wish and require. If you don't know that, it will never come. They will always win. London Fire Brigade, you shouldn't be taking the blame. This is another, like, if they're going to put a little girl in a room, all right, then you think they're going to be bothered about blaming the fire brigade and others for the duties and obligations and failures? No, they're not. So fewer people would have died in the 2017 fire if the brigade had taken certain actions earlier. The report by Inquiry Chairman Sir Martin Morebrick said the head of Sir Martin Moore-Brick. All right, see, there's a nice bit of grammar there in that name. The head of the Fire Brigades Union said the inquiry was back to front. The BBC has seen sections of the report ahead of Wednesday's publication. The document for why? Why have they seen sections ahead of? What, the reporters, have they? Yeah, it's madness, isn't it? We don't get to see that. We don't get to see the truth. We get to see the fragmentized, spinnery, spin doctor. They're going to have a second phase. So interesting, disgusting that the fact is that there are still buildings, all right, fam, with that cladding on that are a hazard right now, all these years on, much like Brexit, where we've seen so many do so little for so long, since the most important negotiations this landmass has known, since the end of the Second World War. I shit you not. And here we are again, can't protect. There's private blocks here, as well as community council blocks, council, blocks in themselves. So epic, massive, systemic failures, false faith. They brought it to me, just 1 week's worth of news. If I was to collate a consortium of the headlines we happened to put on the .com and that I could bring around, I think it would be the most depressing video I've ever done, but informative, care, suicide, debt. So that's all I'm going to say on this. I can't mention much more. The firefighters, we love you. You're not rubbish. You're not to be blamed. I'll defend them. I will take pleasure in not being a servitude slave, and privatisation of the national stuff by Thatcher and what's gone on there. We ought to bring it all back. We ought to put a claim of equitable notice in and claim back. And I'm not trying to start a revolution. What I'm saying is, hypothetically, there is a technology that we can use. It is non-violent, honourable, concise, effective, lawful, accurate, speedy, and it will stand. So that brings me to the thumbnail, where we've done the publications. All those have been given away for free, downloadable for free, and will be hosted on the facebook.com for all to download, amongst other choice PDFs and documents that I think should be put up there. I'm not using Facebook as a tool in itself, for community, social networking, media network, or social integration. It's just an output media. After Cambridge Analytica, I'm afraid, again, that was a nail in the coffin. Incredible. I'm going to go on to say that, no, I won't say about that. We'll leave it. It's just extra. I don't need that. You don't need it. I'm going to go to the comments on the screen and say hello to the 22 watching. And we've been streaming 33 minutes. So, nice one. Thank you for the thumbs up. Much love. If you have any questions, any news, feedback on that, let me know. I'm sickened. I'm dismayed. I have faith. We have the faith in ourselves, in our community, in our forefathers. And if the ones that we've paid respect for, and the veterans of wars gone by, and the likes of our grandmas, all of yours and mine, the genre that watches, the demographic that watches this now, were to all be lined up and to know, after everything they've gone through, and their blood, sweat and tears, sacrifice, the pain. G-Star was saying that mankind was, I'm not going to tell you everything, but we was on about humanity, pestilence, persecution, slavery, being hung, drawn and quartered 256 years ago on Anglo landmass. Don't quote me, but thereabouts. I utter a rough, yearage. amount. I'm sure he said that, 250, 260 years, hung, drawn and quartered. Mankind, humanity's been through an almighty amount of pain. I see a lot of change going off. I feel a lot of change going off. We don't fear. We don't, change is good. Change happens. Change is as good as a rest. We are pushing aplenty with lots of things, and we are in a good place. So enough said. Comments from the top. Let me get fix up. Thank you, scribes. Thank you for spending time, for your input, for your comments. There's no legal advice here. You know that. Okay. What? Let me get in. And then we're on. Hello to Quinn and Kevin, Lisa, Mad, Anthony. Oh, I need my mouse, really, but I'll try this. We'll try. Yeah, we're good. It's working. Quinn, my sister-in-law is in mental health system but has good carers. Not always the case, though. Yeah, you keep an eye on that, my brother. You keep a mince pie on that. And then Pie Man underneath. Sorry to hear that. It's a system that's mental. You look at that link and stories and search them names, and there's other such information on an international level that's quite condemning, to be fair. So, like I say, eyes are on this landmass for quite many reasons at the minute. But respect to you. Thank you, Quinn. Thank you, John. You have a Bojo and we have a ScoMo, David. Aye, pie. Aye, pie. All right. What's this? Me link. All right. Thanks, John. My brain is still. Yeah, he has a particular way, doesn't he, John? Don't ever change, though, John. We love you, bro. The father and daughter sounds in desperate need of serious advocates. Indeed, see what I mean? The love and power we could do if we just were on the cusp, all right? We need to protect ourselves. I can't go out there and act very big guns with things and come and go whatever, but soon we can. It's on the cusp, trust me. G-Star says, evening. Hello, my brother. Jamie Oliver. Chef is in. Roads or rivers? That's very out there, but nice one, thank you, Jay. Angel Saxton, Hey, John, loving that. Thank you. I always learn when I'm here. Great minds with freedom in their hearts. Yes, Pie Man, boom. We all learn. Every day is a school day, a corrective day, a self-initiate scholar day. It's just humbling and amazing. Speech different to text. Indeed, John. Speech, I won't get into that, what we found about speech. It's just been the phonics and, blessings. Rick and the garden, thank you. How is your garden, Rick? Is it good? That is an interesting screen name. I'm going to have to go to your channel and see if you have gardening videos. And I'd like to ask you, have you seen what the bleep are they spraying us with? I've got something else I need you to see if I can find it on a YouTube link while I'm looking at your comments. That isn't it. I've got a long list of documentaries I'll bring to you. I've got another 30 or so more that I've found and I'm watching and digesting and taking information from. But if I can find this, you need to consider what the bleep are they spraying. I'm sure this is it. It's from 2012. It's got 10 years worth of information for gardeners and that. What the bleep do we know? There, we've got it here, 1 hour 12. Thank you. This is why you see YouTube isn't all that bad. We slate it. It isn't good, but it's allowed us. The internet has allowed us so much more. Torrents of the indigos and the light workers, the crystals, the rainbows. We have sucked it up. It's fantastic. I am buzzing. It's about the chemtrail conspiracy, all right, but it's no longer a conspiracy. Much like when they said, oh yes, everybody get a mobile phone. They're really good, they're mobile and they're light and have a battery, you can text, and fabulous thing, you need to buy one. Look, here's one now. Here's a yuppie. Hello, yes, I'm Wilmot Brown. Yeah, what, hello. Oh, they're fantastic. I must have one, Then we said, well, if you get one of them, I reckon they're going to start recording all your calls, monitoring, tracking you. And that was the conspiracy theorist. Well, hello. Right, next thing. Drones. Oh, drones. Yes, drones are fantastic. Yes, we need to make drones. Yes, drones. What are drones? Well, it's like an aeroplane. It's not really an aeroplane. It's got a little controller box in it, like we can put bombs and rockets and everything, and nobody needs to get hurt except the poor fuckers that we're targeting. Ah, well, drones, military weapons. Look where we are, military weapons. So, just when you hear these and labelled conspiracy theorists, when you search on this, don't do the usual and put chemtrail conspiracy theory, but something like geoengineering and looking at the terminology of which nimbus clouds, aerosol, particle, technological words, and search like that. And this is how I found this documentary hidden on YouTube, which is full of, for the ones out there that like numbers and information, and this is all from one man's screen name, Rick the Gardener. Thank you for saying hello, because you've given the scribes this little gem. That's got some evidence in, some claims, and some shocking, nasty information, certificate analysis, particulates, aluminium, strontium, etc. If that's what it is. I know it's aluminium. Bless them. What channel is that? Let me shout them out to give them some love. Truth Media Production is the channel. Let me subscribe to them as well, because I didn't subscribe after liking it. Shame on me. It's had 1,559,000 views. 364 people are listening. Man's listening, getting interested. We're collecting evidence, years of it. 10 years ago, it wasn't like this. It is now like this. What's happened in 10 years? Let's think. So, Rick the Gardener. I thank you for that. Blessings back to you. Comments. What time are we on? All right, that'll ding dang do. Corporation, body corpus, corpus juris, corpse. Homophones, Holy Spirit, aka Holy Spear. It's aka Greek symbol for phi circle, hole, aka holy, masculine line through the centre, spears it. Now then, Jamie, thank you very much. Spears. Alright, then, he got you. Corporate. Look at your correcting. We know what you're at, don't worry. It's at ease, soldiers, at ease. It's coming from a dyslexic man who's writing documents and collating stuff and looking back going, check that 50 times and I've still found mistakes. We need a proofreader. That's what we need. But don't worry, I get what you're saying, and thank you for that, Jamie and John. Lisa, I'm upset that the diplomat's wife, hello Lisa, my sister, thank you for the comment, and good evening to one and all. At the Grey residence establishment family didn't stay and deal with what happened in common decency. That's right, common decency, remorse, and the use of immunity with this is totally yes, and yes. That's right, I like that, echoing, just perfect, absolutely, couldn't have put it better myself. Common decency, I said the universal laws require, boom, much like the little girl isolated, you're 18, everything changes, no chat, no nothing, no emotion, no thought, no care, no consideration, bish, bash, bosh. I'd have sat with her for at least 3 hours, I'm telling you, I had a brew, made a plan, these kind of things, what's happening, gone with her, where are you going, sat in the cell for a bit, you know what I mean? Oh, you've only got a mattress here, 1 minute, right, off we go. What's going on? Well, it appears that you've put this 18-year-old, it just makes you crap itch, doesn't it? So thank you and much love. Couldn't have put it better, Lisa. It restores my faith in man when you see comments and responses like that for blatant nastiness. Again, she's made the tragedy of it exponentially worse, in my humble opinion. Yes, she has. Foolish, resentful, no remorse. We're above echelons of, and it's just not nice, not decent, not honourable. I wash my hands of it, clean hands, conscionable actions. You can't escape it. It's the realm over the realm. Look at that programming, the realm. I'm in so much trouble. Don't judge me. I have moments of, forgive me for I know not what I do. Yes, I hear the shills say, here, here. Alpha, the beginning, Omega, the end. Alpha, Omega, male and female. Many things there, John. Alpha, beta, alpha, beta. And it's mentioned Greek earlier, so each to their own there, sir. Yes, John. AG, GM, NT, Jamie. A to G, 1 to 7, G to M, 7 to 1, A, G, G, too many numbers, I'm too tired, I'll look at that later, but thank you. What's going on? I need help with that, Jamie. I don't have a clue there. Is that your IBAN? Quinn, begin with A-frame and die and go back to A-frame, the kind of thing, John. Can you not go? The interaction is just thank you. Yeah, you're on the same brain, the same wavelengths, like the same brain. The SAE-10 system. Yes, so I've got some publications to bring on the Sumerian base 10 mathematics PyMan. There's lots of it to find, but I've done a little video when I was in Hungary seeing our lass's mum when we travelled across there. And even the Pi, someone at the beginning said the Pythagorean mathematics and frequency notes and so forth is very interesting. We have the cladding problem here too. Oh, where's here, PyMan? Roughly. Tommy Rogers 5G tower started that 20. Oh, sorry. Tommy Rogers, 5G tower started that. Is it? Claim. What you got? Information for me, Tommy. Nice one. Good to see you. Just realised who it is. Rock on, Tommy. Easy now. Long time. Look at that. You did that, Tommy. You did that to me. You made me smile. Well, I'm not saying you're making a claim, but it looks like you have got some information. So I'd like to know, my man. All right. Thank you. Good Lord, got a lot of comments. Residents are being made to pay for repairs. No, yeah, that's right. This is it. We need to look at that length of time, the horrific 2019 standards that you'd expect to be a lot higher. These lessons should have been learned in the 70s and 80s and 90s. You know, no excuses. No, you know, for you if you have a commercial entity and you're out there operating, performing, and you're causing loss, harm, injury through your malpractice. It seems that doctors and certain others like this are allowed to continue on and cause harm in many ways. This is a council, you know, local electorate, demographic. You've got your voters, you've got the consent. Are we still at war? You know, the recuser they're asking that. So the war is prevalent, and that chemtrailing. Wow, I've got some documents with documentaries which I don't agree with all. I don't endorse that. That one that I've shared with you about chemtrail, all of it. What I'm saying is I'm interested. When a man stands there and says like this, he's in front of a conference, I forget his name, and he says, right, yes, we are spraying aluminium, about 550,000 metric tons. I'm like, okay. And he says, and it may have weather modification, geoengineering benefits to that. We haven't at this point researched aluminium. He says, and it may turn out that aluminium has non-beneficial effects. He's very careful about his words, and there's a bloke there, and there's quite a lot here in that. I'm sure it's that, and if it's not that, I'll get you the one. I'll film it myself and show it you. All right, but I'm very shocked that in this international conference of questions and answers with the representative of geoengineering, particle, nano, glass, aluminium, just insanity. It's got a title that's so big, what they're discussing and what their jobs are and what their end game is, with the technologies they use. And he's openly saying that aluminium is about and being sprayed in hundreds of metric tons in the atmosphere for weather modification, geoengineering and other such things. And they don't understand the full effect of aluminium. I'm like, well, we do. Aluminium causes Alzheimer's. Our kid's just been diagnosed with asthma recently. I have now a vested interest to help clean up this environment and to expose even more so. So I'm sorry for getting passionate. When you find videos of substance, you'll never find online, you'll never find it on YouTube articulately by accident on the recommended. You find it by painstaking keyword searching That's had 1.5 million views. If you've seen that chemtrailing video, I'd like to know if you have or not. If you haven't, and you watch it and you're blown away and shocked, and I will skim through to make sure it's the proper one, then it's no wonder we're getting all these things there. And residents are being made to pay. We're the residents of the realm of the and we're being slaughtered with with these tactics. All right, so I hear what you're saying there, Pyman. I know you're not having a go, but it's just remember and think that aluminium being found everywhere is just disgusting. You was working across the road that day in Shepherd's Bush, Anthony. Sorry, it was terrible, horrific. But the worst thing I can say that morning was half a dozen media choppers above filming them all dead. And oh my goodness, I say sorry, my brother. I've seen some accidents in my time. I've seen one person die. It's not a competition, but I'm just saying I couldn't imagine that emotion and just that in itself. So if you live and you're working across there, you're local and you know the areas and whatnot, we all feel, when you see 9/11 and the tragedies there. We weren't directly connected, but we are extended families, and you felt sick. You were like, ooh, and you saw shapes coming down and pure desperation and clinging on and bellowing smoke, and it's just stories coming out of Grenfell and mum and a daughter and so forth burning to death, and the fire brigade, all of them. See what I mean? The love is always there for everybody, even the police that were there, in all instances, in Grenfell, in wherever, tragedies, underground bombings. So I want to reinforce to the ones that are genuinely here for interaction, learning, love and support, self-scholars, initiates, and also to the shills and the government agents that, it's a family business, it's a family thing. And these affairs of ours, because somebody wears a uniform, neither does it give them extra power over us, like some magical costume, and make them higher and mighty. No, it doesn't. But neither does it lower them to us. The equality is a real thing. We are equal. And whether you're an ex-soldier, a serving soldier, a militant, a combatant, an officer of martial admiralty, private corporation, a nursey type, a public school, private, whichever it is, all of them, you're out there and you're doing a job and you are serving. You may know or know not what you do, and that's why we would forgive and we give everybody the benefit and wish no malice. But so these things here, I bet you're scarred, is what I'm saying. Others have lost family, and you'll never forget that. It's unforgivable, and nobody will be made to pay except the residents. Sadly, is where I'll end that. And Quinn sending that, so it's all right. It's heavyweight. It's real. This is real talk. That's what we want. We want to look at it. We want to evaluate it. I don't think it's right. It should be, and this system is designed to do that. It will appease you by giving somebody to blame. And that somebody to blame is never the right one. And if you're ever on the victim stage of this, then you will see firsthand how cruel it can be, how senseless, how immoral, and how unethical. And no matter so much how much you cry and plead and beg and bleed and whatever, it will turn on. It doesn't matter. So we're a little bit different. We're not perfect, and I'd like to show you together we are better off managing independently, because the public side of it is massively adrift, and out of this chaos will come their new world order, their one world everything. I don't know if it's on purpose. I don't know if it's the asteroids and the zodiacs and the alignment and the year. I haven't got them answers. I'm just trying to control and put into place knowledge so the chaos is delayed or doesn't even ensue. Rick the Gardener again. I've got to say Rick the Gardener. I would normally just say Rick of the Gardener, but it's just got a nice flow. Rick, well done, lad. You better have some gardening videos. Remote control missile launchers are so convenient. Disgusting. just, you know, shout going out to the theorists out there that have took the time to be in the beginning. I know what it's like, and the attacks and the snide and the sneer and the threats and the belittling, and, you know, you push it and you persevere and you gain momentum, you gain respect, you gain love, you gain results, you gain, you know, and it's a beautiful thing. It's so hard to do, and there's many areas of which no one man can do them all. So it's a team, family, initiate, scholar, you know, tribal effort here. And for those that have been and gone and already fought and died, and that's why, you know, and for the future ones yet to come, we have an obligation and a duty there. So, yes, Pie Man. Yeah, exactly, Quid. Lost for words. That's it. You've said it perfect, mate. Words can't describe. It's a bit like the unfathomable, as I've tried to unfathom. You can't unfathom the unfathomable, David. And yes, it's about time I learnt that. There's a theory. The man who owns the Twin Towers made a fortune from insurance. I've got a few videos on that as well, actually. Anthony, well said. Disgusting. I'm not going to get into that now, but we could be here for hours. Well said, noted, sustained. Nanotech from Tommy to Sister Lisa. Pie Man, the name of the man who owns the shopping centres is Frank Lowy, a close friend of Lucky Larry. Lucky Larry strikes Larry. Larry Lucky. All right, Frank Lowry. Frank Lowry. Why does that ring a bell? Frank Lowry. Hollywood film. Frank Lowry. 12 Monkeys. Whoa, that's a random... You're making my brain hurt, Tube, but I like it. Frank Lowry was a character in the weird film. I can't place that film. One of you can, though, can't you? Frank Lowry. I need to know in case you can't. What was that? Was it Mike? Yeah. What was that? I know I'm a bit random. Just let me see. Oh, I've spelt it wrong. Oh, hang on a minute. Has it got an E at that? I'm tired and dyslexic. Lowy. Lowy. Oh no, I'm thinking of someone else totally then. Look, that's my dyslexia, that's why I have to check stuff. I've put Lowry. Alright then, let me just search on that name. Let me just pop the things what pops up as we've got a keyboard interface. Oh, that one might not be the right man. I found one Frank Lowry. Let me just see there what you put. Owns a shopping centre, is a close friend of Lucky Larry. Would it be this Frank Lowry? That Sir Frank P. Lowy is an Australian Israeli businessman of Jewish, Slovakian, Hungarian origins. Just by chance, I'll say that again. Frank Lowy, Lowy. Sir Frank P. Everyone, Sir Frank P. All right, is an Australian Israeli businessman, and he's of Jewish, Slovakian, Hungarian origins. So he's an Australian Israeli area businessman of Jewish, Slovakian, Hungarian origins. I see the connection there. It's quite easy to make. The former long-time chairman of Westfield Corporation, a global shopping centre company, US dollars of 29.3 billion pounds of assets under management in the United States, United Kingdom, Europe, blah, blah, blah. He was from Czech, now Slovakia, residence Israel, nationality Australian. Very interesting. Look at that, bish bash bosh. Thank you very much for that. Was that mad? It's got some pennies, hasn't he? Do you reckon he'd over funding the trust to set up like that? Then, pal, we need a bit of a boost. I would say it was also a further point of the landscape. Yeah, I agree, Anthony. We've said that, and that's been put out before. Land grab and asset grab. Anthony, that doesn't work. Well, there's one way to skin a cat, is what you're saying there, Quinn. Yes, noted, sustained, and you're bang on, the money. Tommy, has anyone claimed their original birth certificate and copyrighted it and now sovereign? Tommy, all I can say is I was at Chancery Lane last week, and I've put some information on the .com, been to the Chancery Courts, and I may or may not have an appointment in the near future with the Chancery master or type of equivalent to get some directions from. So In relation to your question, no, but on the cusp, definitive answers, yes. Have I done a DSAR to the Liverpudlian Registrar General's office and asked for all derivatives thereof of the person? I might have. Have I also written to the Land Registry and inquired with them about any derivatives, licensed registrations, titles, persons, derivatives thereof? I might have. Have I been in person to Liverpool and seen the agents reference the notice to agent, notice to principal, Registrar General, and have I gone down and in personam wished and required and authorised them to act upon and give me said certificates as their certificate copyrighted it and now a sovereign. Why would you copyrighted it? Because it's Crown copyright on it. It clearly says Crown copyright, Tommy. Would you copyright my work and claim it as yours? No, you wouldn't, because you're an honourable self-initiate scholar and sovereign. So you wouldn't copy my work, and neither would I copy yours, because we have intellectual common law copyright on that, and respect and trust. Yes, we do. So why would you take someone else's copyrighted Crown document, which isn't yours, one of the 3 crowns, and then claim that and copyright it? Would you then argue that you haven't got that copyright because you are only the holder in due course? You have been entitled to have that. Romney, his video, Why You Are All Dead. What does that say? What did I see earlier? Bit of, I'm not having a go at the man, but, there's a new video out and it's got red writing on, Why You Are All Dead. You're not dead. Illegal instrument is. Copywriting it, title deed holder, holder in due course, the conveyance, the equitable instrument and asset. There's no need to copyright anything, in my opinion. That would be the wrong avenue, but then again, I might be misguided. So, Tommy, no. Again, no. We saw in Alderhay, and what the failure there was, that was because of other things as well. I'm not privy to all the facts, so I am out of the loop. But again, no. So much love to you, brother. But other ways are being explored. Ifyouwanna.com. Like I say, I will let you know. That's the only place I will release it, because it's a private place. It's protected and honourable, conscionable, etc. Good question now, and thank you, Tommy. Much love to you, bro. I hope that explains it. You can't claim somebody else's. I know we're saying claiming it there, but copywriting. Could you register a business in an all caps name of Mr. Tommy Rogers and call Mr. Tommy Rogers doing business as Mr. Tommy Rogers and afford all liabilities and formalities to that? That's a bit different. Could you put a signature in a trust as an asset? That's a bit different thing to looking at it. That's just playing around with things, but we've often looked at things not directly, not to the point, not sensibly, not with all of the information, not with all of the parameters, not with all of the options. So when you get that, you have this, and when you've got this, you don't see this, and now you see this, you don't want that, because that's always how it's been. Now you've got this, you've got the spectrum. So interesting. From me, that's my point anyway. Matt says building standards have dropped due to Agenda 2030. Wow, noted. Diane Jessie Miller, Rick Mail, 1 by 1. Yes, I need a haircut. I'm twizzling my hair like I've got long hair. It is long for me, that's why it's got all the hair touching, because I'm conscious of, usually I don't have any. In the cold, it comes in handy, doesn't it? If it was a property developer strategy for those responsible would be evil, maniacs, sociopaths, at best people were burnt alive. A sacrifice then, G, is that what you're saying? When they do that to, young assets, then I don't think they'd have a problem, with that sacrificial act. Thank you, Pie Man. Thank you very much, brother in Melbourne. Can I come and see you? Have you got any room for me and our Queen and Princess? I'll find my own way over. Can come over and surprise Santos. Santos, can you say Jesus? Just one more time. Flaming Galah. Nice one. Sorry. John equals 33. I'll have to look at it again, just in case. Commercial agent, sovereign state. Reminds me of something I said to somebody earlier for a keyword situation, Babylon, hostile. You've just given me a reminisce of something earlier which I was having a look at for a keyword that might be needed, you know. Gematria, yes please Jamie. Each letter glossed is a number. 7 days of creation, AG 1 to 7, then descend to 1, starting again from N to T7. Gematria. So where we said alpha and omega, that makes me, and I recognise it's backwards, but you get that view the same as what I'm going to get now. Alpha is here, A, and then you go, because you have, who mentioned base 10 maths earlier, you got your 3, 6, 9, 12, and you can go across, and what were they doing now? I can't remember now. 1, 3, 6, 9. I can't get into it all because I don't want to get it wrong. So alpha, okay. B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, and then this hand starting there, N. Yes, you got all that. The top of the little finger now. We're going over to the alpha, now to the omega. N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z, alpha, omega, alpha, beta, also base 10 Sumerian mathematics system. Interesting. Bosh, I know what you're saying. Menorah and the 7 candelabra, numbers, letters. I'm not a genius, but now I get what you're saying. A to G, 1 to 7. Couldn't see that before. Now I know exactly what you're on about. I am Jeremita and I did Gematria. Thank you, Jamie. Chef, back in the room. That's all it needs sometimes. It's there, but it's behind a fog. You get a little nudge. How you doing? Back in room. Stop it with that though. Too much, Jamie. I'm just doing a little update. Thank you. I love you, scribes, and I know you're giving. I'm giving. It's a two-way. That's what I love. I'm not an expert in all lawful matters at all now. And these make my heart smile. They make me smile because if you're thinking of them and you're doing them, more are coming along and doing them and notice them. John, you're a legend. You really are. Jamie and John, bless you both. So many codes and numbers. Cipher, the Cipher Trust. We need a trust just for ciphers, and you two would be in it. You would be the ones that steered that trust. John and Jamie, do you want to make a cipher trust? G-Star, look at that, there's an idea. A cipher page on the .com. Brrr, just empty. That would be excellent. The guinea pigs in the experiment. Don't mention guinea pigs to me. I've got one in the front room that thinks it's the Queen. Honestly. Aluminium, magnesium, I was the Big Bang, the first letters of the alphabet. You was in the Big Bang, was you, John? Are you that old? You can't be that old, John. I don't think I've seen you. On Facebook, actually, I believe, but I'm sorry. 90% of my recommendations are for entertainment purposes only. Look at Pieman getting out of the liabilities, no problem, and noted. 99.9% of mine are strictly for entertainment purposes in this Babylonian realm of stardom. G-Star, you cannot believe the developments all around Grenfell. Since Grenfell has a green cover around it, next development will be demolished. Keep eyes on that. Nasty. Trying to catch up. Twisted on vibes. Well, I've missed a comment there. What was that? The Roman Empire. Oh, see, there's something on Netflix about Rome and something. Not that I've got Netflix, you know me. I go around and in the other way, but I see that there are on streaming sites a thing. Something to do when I did my Roman Caesar Messiah search. I was like, what? The Romans, Netflix, such and such. Old Roman calendar, December used to be the 10th month, now the 12th. Calendar, stop it. Middle name, Jason, as I've said before. Middle calling, name, called David, commonly known. I have another calling which is attached, known as previously, middle name, Jason. Now, where did I find Jason in the stars? With your codes and that, then I'll raise you with this. We'll go from the beginning and I'll point out where it is, just to keep it simple. As we all know, the months of the year, not the zodiac, but it comes into the zodiac later. January, February, March, April, May, June. Now from this point onward, after June, this is where it gets interesting. June, July, August, September, October, November. If you take July, August, September, October, November initials, you will get Jason. Sept, Egyptian god, darkness, etc. That what was brought out with Osiris, Isis, Mary and Jesus, Horus, Osiris, Jesus. No, taken from Jupiter, and yes, I like this. Jason in the months of the year. July, Julius Caesar, Augustus, December, Dec, 12, yeah, Sept, Opt, interesting. Gregorian, and also you've got Enoch calendar, Enoch, Enoch, Enoch's calendar, circle, 4 quatrains. After the quatra, I think there was a bit either side to balance up for equinoxes and things. The already truck over once with a road. They've got amnesia. That's right. They're in Tartaria, John. That's where they are now. They're in Tartaria, pal. Right. That was to John about calendars as well. Hello, Albert, Will Smith, Mike Lowry. That's it. Yes, Albert. That is the man of the match. If there was a man of the match and we was having a match, Albert. Thank you. That is excellent. Thank you, Albert. Brilliant. Mike Lowry, you are right. It is indeed. God, Lord, I knew it was old. What's that? 05, 15, 24 years old. No wonder that was struggling. That was a fade. Mike Lowry, thank you. I'm glad I read my comments. Look, get in. I've even lost where I was. Bad Boys 95. I left school in 94, so a lot's happened since then. It's no wonder it was hard to get. That was like as hard to get as the light allegedly to see from a star that's 78,000 million miles away, and it was struggling to come back from the back of the brain. It had hit the water. Yes. I've seen exposures on that and the alleged, insurance allegations with regards to. All right. The phenomenon makes no sense. Well, it's no different to solar eclipse. Pyman, yes, little time inside sun. Thank you, Anthony. And we're all brilliant. You're brilliant, my brother. Thank you. I'm convinced they killed the poor on purpose because you cannot believe the development since I take my son to work in the morning. Is there any site I can send you a video? Is there any site? You send me a video to the email, and then if you email my direct private.com domain email, then that's fine. Yeah, you can get me there. Or you can't put a link on here. Just send it to david@splspro.com and I'll pick it up there, my man. Thank you very much. One of the General Registry Office and Passport Offices just down the road from me, 200 yards, Southport, near Liverpool. Yes, Menza. I was there just t'other day. I have pictures and everything. A certificate is evidence of something of value. You can only redeem the goods when said certificate is surrendered. Well said. I like that. Mia, I am. Certificate is evidence of something. Yes, an evidence. So people aren't registered, are they? No, events are registered. Boom, she's on it. Very sharp. Who have you been chatting to? Where have you got your intellectual esteem, wisdom, knowledge from? I like that a lot. And redeem the goods when said certificate is surrendered or exchanged or endorsed, or there are many things there, but surrendered is one. That's not necessarily bang on word that you should run away with and use, but they are certificates, yes, evidences of. Come over anytime, mate. Yes, thank you. Bonza. You can't handle the indie. You'd need to get me some natural sedatives, you know what I mean, Paimon, if I could get my ass over. We'll design something sovereign initiate scholarly like hovercraft that runs on Marani, Tesla, Dollard, Hutchins, resonant watts, you know, and I'll be all singing and dancing. Electricity on water, yeah, that's right. Don't worry about that. Hydroelectric. Get myself across. 10 minutes. Upside down land or to the edge, whichever it is. Thank you very much. You're very kind. Very kind. Intelligence has fallen regularly since 1975 onwards, probably vaccines, chemical pharma, in my humble opinion. Agreed, Menza. Sustained and radio waves, frequency, chemicals, plastics, E-numbers, these bloody monster, hell, bomb, burn, energy drinks, mixing them all up. Aluminium content, like I say, I've put some good links in there. Documentaries if you want, because I love you and it's been a while and things are changing and I have a lot of valuable in my history. Bear with me because it's a slow laptop and we're getting to the end. As a Halloweeny type Hallows, I don't celebrate the pagan shizzle, but as a Hallows ensemble, I'm about to give you some bad news now. I know what I'm doing for once. I'm going to bring you, if any of you remember Matthew from Sheffield, we've had a troubled time with his pooch there, his horse dog, Mr. Tesla, and it turns out the old lad, the dog there, the canine, after many happy years on this realm, has been to the vets, and Matt's emptied his bank account reserves. As you do when you go to the vets with no insurance and a massive dog that needs invasive surgery and looking at and bloods and tests and things and scans and lancing off, and it looks like he's got cancer and he's dying. So I say with a heavy heart that Matthew is a good long friend of mine, a brother, started off as a friend, and we were two in a room. El Trago, the drink, I said I want a drink, or I thought I'd break your radio, going back to Mike Lowry, years of, two in a room for the hardcore ravers out there. If you remember that track on Positiva, and also El Trago, what else did they do? Ahora Es, that was amazing. The music production and the rapping in it for that time. Matthew and I were in a room. He put me up, bless him, when I got ejected from the family residence at 15, and I had some shelter from the wolf, shall we say, and I was into that house uplifting beat at the time. Started to learn to DJ, come out the hardcore break beat 4x4, got into something calmer, much needed trance and so forth, transcendental. What was it now? Amazonian Highway. Wow. Future Sound of London. Papua New Guinea, Digweed and Sasha, Euphoric House, breaking out, Balearic Beats, and me and Matt, we was on a journey in that place, two in a room, so to speak. So I'll help him if I can, but I'm on my arse myself. So I just wanted to tell you that he's in Sheffield, and I wanted, if you can spare a thought for him. I'll promote something later and do a collection if I can, and see if there's any animal lovers out there that might want to help him, but I don't envisage a repair. I've said that to them. We're going Rick Simpson, we're going silver, we're going full alkalinity. He's having Rick Simpson internal, all over alkalinity, some form of meds, and we're trying to make it a nice time for him. So he's managing the animal that is Tesla. His animal is called Tesla, and I believe is a cross between a Dog de Bordeaux and I'd say Great Dane, but Bull Mastiff, Dog de Bordeaux, Bichon Frise, Dog de Bordeaux, Bull Mastiff. It's like a Scooby-Doo dog, bless him. I love Tesla. He's one of the family. Animals are part of the family. It's a spare of thought for brother Matthew. I know a sister up north who's getting a package from me as well regarding silver and oils to help out, and we do what we can there. But here we go. Who's ever heard of? So yeah, I come heavy. We send peace and love to Matt, and man and dog. Never a good time. Family. Brought you horrific, harrowing. That's a new word, isn't it? Steady. Debased language or not, David? We're not inventing words on tube, are we? Of a Saturday night. even if it is Hallows, Festival of Dead, etc. Harrowing stories I've brought you. It's in correlation. It's in the way that you interpret and how it gets to you. It's coming, and we're trying our best to honourably let you know. I'm going to now give you the first documentary link. That's Billy Meier. I did just say this is a world of information. If you've never done any like UFO-y type research and you've never heard of this man and you'd like to do some, may I introduce you to Billy Meier? He's not English, he's European. This is just extra stuff now as I go, right? And as it's a long time in between and we're doing other stuff now differently, I want to give you some more free. These are rockumentaries. They're going to rock your world in the documentary style. Search that independently, Billy Meier, Meier. You'll have a whale of a time with that. I promise you, for hours. I haven't finished with that. Prophecies, Billy Meier and Prophecies. I had, what else we got here? There's loads there. The Palladians, Billy Meier documentary. All the photo evidence, Billy Meier, that's 2 hours and 16 on another channel. Billy Meier, Nippon TV, UFO documentary, Japanese, 1980. I'm looking for a documentary that I can't find called The Visit. It's an alien encounter. A film by Michael Madsen. Yeah, Madsen. This film documents an event that has never taken place. Man's first encounter with intelligent life. That's Santos and the Hydrogen Man. Richard Small. No, you don't need him. That was just a random. Wait there. What else have I got for you? DMT, the Spirit Molecule 2010. This one I haven't finished watching. This is just another escape at the end of the day when I've done calls, emails.com, course content, writings, and I need to shut off and I've got a bit of seepage. What I do is this. I have a bit of watch of these kind of videos and other such. Here we go. This is DMT, the Spirit Molecule. If you've heard of this and ayahuasca and so forth, that's not the only documentary that you'll find. There are many, but I like that one. And from what I've seen so far, if you've never heard any 528 regeneration, hertz, emotional, yeah, it is emotional. Center balancing. Sometimes I have this on as I go to sleep when I can't sleep and I'm there, can't sleep, and I've got thoughts in my head, and before I know it, I'm asleep, and my headphones are coming off, like, you know. So this is just a taster of what I listen to calm down and tune in as I'm training my monkey brain and getting to speak slower and be more methodic in my ways, articulate, use my energy concisely. If I have all this energy and I focus it well, I can get a lot more done, not be as tired. I think that's it for now. Healing music, astral realms, Mozart slowed down. I'll give you this. This is so good. This is Chuck Roberts. In the beginning there was Jack. I did get copyright infringement somewhere for doing this, somewhere else. I won't play it you, but if you like court scenarios and you know that I was into the music and you can dig your old school funky house and you like remixes of a Chicago-y, New York-y type, then this will not disappoint you, I promise you. It's one of the most amazing things I've seen all year. I will watch it for many, many times. Chuck Roberts remix. In the beginning there was house, done in a courtroom with a judge that it's just amazing. That's the little boost that you need to get through the rest of the day, let me tell you now. Come on. MC Lethal, Rave Digger, the stuff that's in my KLF, 3am Eternal, Jam and Spoon, Odyssey to Anunia, Two in a Room, KLF, Justified Ancients. That's it, I've done it, yeah. I've given you everything. Dead Sea Scrolls, here we go, this is a good one, last one. Dead Sea Scrolls, Ancient History Documentary. People have said, what is this? Where's this from? What does it entail? Can you give me more? Have you got any publications? Francis Assisi, Persia, the papacies. There is a lot of lineage. I'm not able to recite it all. Some of the intellect, information, scholars, reference points, history. isn't always available on the books and the PDFs. So you go to these as well, then you find other books and PDFs linked to, and it's a funny old journey, but there you go. That will do for you. And I've got lots more. I'm just going to catch you up, and then we're saying ciao, good night. I'll be back soon. I don't know when, but I'll keep in touch. I'm going on Facebook to say hello, update them, get feedback from them, praise and grumble about things. I've given them documentation, the key competence coursework that's on the front thumbnail now. They're getting all of those. So we have love for the family, we've got love for the streets, we've got hands clean, conscience clean, and now we're moving forward into 2020 with clear vision and a lot on the table. I do not watch Naughty Beaver channel, Prophecy and Palladians. Thank you, Menza. I will get that looked at. I will come back and have a look later and sort these out. Stephen Spears is an interesting channel about sovereignty in Australia and the corrupt. You just keep giving, don't you? Yes, hi. Thank you very much. Thank you. What's that? 22 watching now. Over 7 baguettes, as many subs as he has, 3,142. Lol. Ed 1. Yeah, they're messing with the numbers. I'm one of the only channels to stick like that and not move. They are moving. It's just that the numbers aren't. I don't know. I see things are happening, but yes, the numbers don't lie. But in this case, they do. Sometimes they do. Me and my dog's on it. Hogarth, how are you doing? Long time no see. Yes, you do. Pie Man, agreed. That's what it is. Stop feeding the system. Stop submitting. Stop, in that way. We can't always do that. To go without and not sign on and claim benefit so you can be entitled. You are entitled with the fixture of the liability that comes with the Mr. David, the Mr. Who said that? Mad, Mr. Pie Man. So Mad is all very well and good. David, it's all very well and good. Mr. David, Mr. Mad, even though there's no fixture of the estate, family, etc. You've got the title. You've been entitled. What is your title? Lord, Ms., Mrs. So that's just another way. Cognitive dissonance. I mean, it's not always about money. Being entitled, you benefit now. I'm not trying to mess your head up, but I'm at the confident point where I can do the positioning of, are you going to benefit by having your entitlement? Yeah, well, yeah, I am, because I'm getting money out the bank for free or from the post office or whatever. Well, when you get that money, what does that mean? Is them promises? I know at soldiers, but you get that promises, money, cash, credit. Yes, and what happens? Well, I have to do this, I have to do. So you submit, and you are now duty bound to, and when you are entitled to it, because you've paid and contributed through your sweat equity, and you should have a universal basic minimum income and be left alone while you're on your arse to get back sorted. Well, you might not. You might want to take some time out. That's fine. We've got enough gold reserves, collateral to do that. So. The fixture and entitlement is the Mr., the Mrs. and the title there, going into public legal. So entitlement is money, and entitlement is the title that comes. Now, someone said earlier about the birth certificate. You hold that as a baby, 0 until 18. And in that time, you are civilly dead. You are not legally accessible. Nobody can put a charge. I don't know why I'm doing that. 0 and 18. In that time period, within that, there is nothing that can be done. No legal, no liability, no charge, protected. You've got your medicine, you've got your care, you've got everything done. And I know your parents manage that, yeah, the mum and dad, but either way, that's allowed through the system. At one point, you come to 18, and then it's the night before you're 17, the last night, and you're 18, boom, it's all gone. That construct's gone. And you're in the public, and there's no protection. You're civilly active, and you've got your Mr., you've got your date of birth, you've got your surname, you've got your national insurance number, and you're off in the general public to go and float your boat on that commercial water maritime battle You know, the certificate there is proof. So putting it in and copyrighting it and whatnot, I don't know why. I would use that as the title deed certificate holder. It's a liability, it's a person, it can be used for benefit, it can receive fines and forfeits and fees. I can be the settler, Lado of there can be the trustee. You need that readily available. Not always understood and managed with the transfer and the transgressions, the subjugation, the subrogation, the personage, the barratry, the way that it's run. It's not easy, but it's there. There is the law, there is the bills, there is the rights. Respecter of persons, honourability, your faith. Now, faith and false faiths. We've been schooled and we've been fooled. We wasn't educated. We've been to the West, we've been to the East, travelled, learned something, come back to the West, been back out to the East, seen a bit, come back, and we kept doing that, whether that be the internet, effectively the East, replacing travelling physically, getting that torrent, downloading it this way, meditating, reading, a collection of all, and things have changed. So, these instruments, Anne-Marie said to me, oh, but if you don't have the V5 logbook, you can't go driving around. And she doesn't speak like that at all, which is you can't go driving around or travelling around Europe because we need it. And I said, if anybody asks or says that you need it, we'll just say, we've got it and we've lost it. All right, no problem. It's not a criminal offence to lose a title deed. It's a scrappy little bit of paper that means nothing in the grand scheme of things. It's their system, it's their conformality. So I'll bring to you subject matter and sticking to that, and conformality with regards to the title deed and the entitlements and benefits. If it's not going to be a benefit to me, then I won't accept that. Somebody claims that you've affixed something like, signatures, then you'd argue, is it a signature? Is it my signature? I may have provided something, but if I was to sign something, we've brought to you before, like a celebrity, they would sign an autograph. They're autographing and they're not signing. I mean, if you want to sign on behalf of your person, we've mentioned that you can sign with reserved liability, and you can manage the liability. You can put certain things, and you can put boxes, and you can put autographs and thumbprints, and you can change inks and etc. But on the basic premise of it, a signature is not an autograph. Man would autograph, and you sign on behalf of the certificate that indemnifies you. And if you know that you are signing on behalf of the certificate, the instrument and the title deed that you're the sole shareholder of and are signing for, with giving authority, so you're basically a trustee and a beneficiary in this constructed, statutory, implied, impugned, implied, dirty little setup. So once you get that, they've given you everything you can have to manage, but they haven't given you the education and the civics and the money and the law and the language to back it up. Once you realise what you've got, you're like, they've actually given us quite a lot, and we can manage the liability and the charging and the discharge quite effectively now. If you give it away, if we submit it and we do what and this, then maybe you need it and you haven't got it, or you've given it to someone and they've got the rights, and you're now a third party. You're not even a secured party or anything. You've just gone and made a mistake maybe. So I'm not giving legal advice here. I'm giving you the discovery of our findings and research. So take and do with it what you will. And I thank you. Sorry to waffle. We are shutting down. It's gone past 12, fam. Yes, Pie Man. Respect. But hold that as your certification. You're not dead. Go and watch Romulus channel right now. Don't watch it, but go to see it. And that video entitled, I still didn't go and see it and say, that's not fair, that's not cricket when you make videos like why you are dead or something along those lines. It's yeah, I've got it there. Justinian Deception, one day ago, 7.3 thousand views. Now your subconscious doesn't know when it goes to sleep and it's filing the day's activity, what's actual fact real and what's make-believe, animation, cartoon and joke. So when you are, and I am, putting into our daily active busy lives all of this information, when you see and read stuff and it's subconscious, and children, assets, daughters and sons watch torrents of simulated deaths and horrific Tom and Jerry, like from, I'm sorry I'm showing my age, but back in the day, the cartoons of Wile E. Coyote, wacky races, hacks and slash of the 80s, horror movies and killing and necromancy and aliens and huggers and all of that space and aliens and killing and hacker and slashing and Freddy, Maniac Cop, and all, you get where I'm coming from now. And then the animations and so forth. Your brain at night makes use, allegedly, I'm not a neuroscientist, but what they tell us is, and what the independent research is, it files everything and it makes use of it and it stores it. When it comes to the scenery and the emotional content, it doesn't actually know whether it was real or whether it was, make-believe animation, Hollywood or real life, animation, fiction or real life. It gets tracked the same. It doesn't have a two-stage filtration. It just goes, put all that there, and you begin to articulate an intelligence, a subconscious language and realm based on what happens at night when you're asleep, based on what you see in the day, not what you cognitively. This is all another system running backwards in there. So if you know what you say and do and see, every word and image is important. When you read stuff, and I'm not having a go, but Why You Are Dead, again, to the Justinian Deception channel, we're not dead. Right, that title should actually read why the legal person is dead, and then the corpus juris and the corpus body, all about corpses. And I haven't watched the video yet, I'm not slagging him or having a go, but you're not dead, and this doesn't help our cause when other videos that are having 7,300 views, I could only dream of that to happen in 24 hours, okay? But that's my little bit. The point is, no matter if you had one scribe in 24 hours or you had 1 million scribes, that brain and consciousness needs to be, I have a responsibility, how I put information out there, what I put out there, how we put it out there, not just the public liabilities and the family trust, personal obligations, pact and covenant, but I know as a channel presenter, if you can call me that, whatever, brother, giving you information, that I have to be careful, I have a responsibility. Are you awake, my darling? The Queen is awake. Alright, I'm going to shut down and I'm just giving the tube a little chirp. You okay? Alright, Sarah Clay. Alright, so I'm going to go to the comments, you see. I knew that I needed to be done for about 12. But yeah, I'm having fun. It is good to be back on. You see, I've got different ways now, and I hope you appreciate what's been doing and why. I am a more private individual than I started off to be. Individual, man. And, I have learnt a lot. The private does hold a lot of protection for you. It holds a lot of respect and dignity. And so you must, hopefully, you must try to, if you cannot, appreciate the fact I and others have the right to privacy, honour and intent, obligations, duties and etc. are often done that way. So yes, I thank you for all the comments. Lisa, John, Pieman, Hogarth. It was this week. You must be here. You must be tired. I am a little bit burnt out. A lot's gone off. I've been to the Chancery. I've got work coming out, options, emails. We've had half term. Yanka Princess has been about. I think she's about to Wednesday next week. So I went out and met a few and did some research with an engine diesel conversion, and we need to catch on that. So it's been busy. I've been out and about. I've been making use of time. And thank you very much, Menza, Quinn, Jamie, Hogarth, Mia, Anthony, John. Much love, thank you, scribes. Glad to see the usual suspects and new scribes, new names, ones that I haven't seen for a while. Thank you very much. Tommy, I hope I didn't upset you there. I haven't seen a comment from him since I said about copywriting, but we all have our opinions and thoughts and views, and that's fine. So he did ask and I did answer. Tommy, I hope you're not offended. I didn't mean to. Mark my words. Oh, I'm loving these old things. Mark my words, rule of thumb. More haste, less speed. One day, if you pull that face, it will stay like it. If I've told you once, Told you 1,000 times. That one was a popular one with Ecky Thump. Alright, so much love. We're going, it's late. We'll let the Queen and the Princess get some rest. I'm going documentary deep again. I'm going to come back with a list of documentaries, and I'll also put them on the .com just for fun. I've created an escape room on the .com, which is no law and no legal. It's just random stuff like Pink Panther, Inspector Clouseau, old rave tracks, just to get out and escape. So if you haven't looked at that and you're on there, enjoy that. And that's the reason for it, just to break out and escape. The Vampire, thank you for saying hello. I've got a feeling you've been there for a while. Why haven't you changed that name? Come on, there's freedom of everything, but it's just too much blood, Vampire. Come on, I know you can do it, and thank you for saying hello, though. That means a lot. Blessed to me, blessed to you, Menza, and the fam, and the scribes. Be kingly or queenly in your adventures and duties. What that tells us, Mia, is it looks like it's a half-informed crime to me. Only informants are in, inform and ant. Look at the word, break it down, but nice one, sister. I like what you're saying there. What does that tell us? What? A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. Who said that? Pie Man, thank you. That's true. We'll have a special hangout on old sayings, a cast, podcast even. I've looked at Patreon, and I've sorted out Twitter for Indiglo, Patreon, linking it up. There's lots in the mix there. Finishing off bits and bobs, pushing out documents. It's all in hand. There's no stress. All is bless. Oh yes. We're positive. We're loving. Good to see me. I thought I'd come on camera for what it's worth. It's overgrown. Not had a trim. I thought, oh, should I have a shave and all of this stuff? And I went, no, I won't. I'll just go on and say Shabba. Egos, that was the ego talking, and I went, shut up, we're going on tube, we're having a chat. That's how we do it. I do need a little shed though and an office, and we need some resources. As you can see from tonight's cast, I take no pleasure. I don't capitalise on any of them stories of any of that misery. I'm not trying to promote the .com or anything through that. I'm trying to show that private, alternative, independent, Anglo services, of which I can't see why we can't have ourselves, these lot need to be told in a way that is beneficial to us and entitles us correctly with the benefits we deserve. So I care and I share because I care. That's simply it. All right, but and I know you do too. Much love to you. You are the best scribes, scholars, initiates, and sovereigns. You know, the return of sovereignty. The sovereignty is returning. I did this 2015 sovereign cyber solicitors on Facebook, which turned into sovereign solicitors, which turned into sovereign paralegals, which turned into sovereign paralegals, est nunc pro tunc, blah blah. Wow! So journey, amazing. But sovereignty is something that is special in many ways. Either we all have it or none of us do. It's one of those, a bit like Ubuntu. If it's not good for one, it's not good for all. You know, and that's how we need to start looking at things. I'm happy and privileged to be where we are, and I've got a lot to bring you in a constructed, methodical order. We're going on to the next tier of the Masters Guild, which is the silver merit. So we had bronze, key competence, foundation, 101, basic. As part of the covenant and the obligation, we will continue to update them, improve them, and provide them for free for all of the family, and access to the key competence grading tools that you will get, PowerPoint presentations and PDF documents to look at and operate independently on a standalone, non-copyrighted, freeware, virus-free testing format system, for a base system for your communities, grading tool, language is a tool, money, credit, promises are a tool, everything is a tool, and we're using it wrong. So we have a lot of structured stuff to get out, a lot of pressure, a lot of expectations, and a lot of areas. So yes, sovereignty is indeed in the news and relevant, but it's self-governing, initiate and private above all. It is not an excuse, and it's not going back anywhere. It's just that you need to recognise exact words, capacities and styles and statuses to use that will get you very far. As for glossing things up and polishing and adorning, we can do that later. All right, so I don't retract the sovereign. That's great, and I stand by that. But you can't use it as a articulate lawful defence, and it's being mentioned a lot at the minute. It's in the news. It's all over the place. It's very funny in some ways because of how it's mentioned and the correlation. But I'm bobbling on. You're all lovely. Thank you, Yardi. You a new one that's just dropped in. Mia, hearts, moons, and thing is, I saw that. Beautiful. All births from 1969 are corpus juris, but it's before first and middle name. I have DVLA now calling by my lawful registration name, no surname. Births from 1969. What? Before, from, onwards from 69 are corpus juris. But before it is all first. I got you. Yeah. Calling me by my lawful registration name. That's not your name, that's your calling. Bosh. Ciao bello.